Hi, my name is Krista, and my topic is overcoming addiction. And my example is Josh Hamilton. Many of you baseball fans know Josh Hamilton as an incredible baseball player. He is also known as the 1999 #1 draft pick for the Devil Rays at age 18, just fresh out of high school, and he also got a $4 million signing bonus. I mean, what could go wrong? He got paid doing the sport he loved, and he had very supporting parents and loving parents back at home. Well, many of you don't know that Josh Hamilton struggled with drug addiction for about 3 to 4 years of his life, and I'm about to tell you why he got addicted and his backstory. Well, Josh Hamilton was born and raised in North Carolina. He was very supported and loved by his two parents, and in his minor league years, he loved being around his parents. His parents loved following him and his team. They loved seeing him prosper and having fun. And one day, all three of them were going to dinner together, and they happened to get in a car accident that injured Josh very badly to where he couldn't even play. And the team didn't allow him to even pick up a bat. He couldn't run. He couldn't weight lift. He couldn't swing. So this caused him a little bit of depression because he was so excited to play that now he got injured, he can't play at all. And he started hanging out at the tattoo parlor and getting tattoos and became a regular. And he became friends with the tattooist. And one night they took Josh out to the bar, and Josh never drank. He was a very clean, he never did drugs, he's very innocent. And they bought him some drinks, and he accepted. He wanted to fit in. He wanted some friends. And got him drunk, and they brought out the magic that started it all, which is cocaine. And the minute that Josh snorted cocaine, he felt the adrenaline rush. And it was the same adrenaline rush he got from catching a fly ball or hitting the game-saving run. And he became an everyday user. And with his $4 million, he was able to buy anything he ever wanted, and he started using it only on cocaine and beer. So this was a little scary for his parents, as they were very caught off guard with all his tattoos, with his drinking. They didn't expect him to change so fast once they left. And once he failed his first drug test, it didn't really give him a reality check. So he kept using. He didn't care. He needed this drug. He absolutely needed it. And it made him feel happy. He didn't feel depressed about not being able to play baseball. So once he got his first failed drug test, the team sent him to a rehab center. And he didn't like talking about his addiction because he believed he didn't have one. He was just using it because it made him feel good. He didn't believe he had an addiction. And so he kept signing himself out because he could. And when this didn't work, the team sent him back home to North Carolina to live with his parents to get his head back together. And he was able to find a drug dealer out in North Carolina, which is very funny for the Devil Rays. And his parents were very shocked to see him with all these tattoos on his arms. And they knew about his drug addiction, but they didn't want to talk about it because, it would probably want him to do it more, probably create a craving. And when they found him snorting in his room, they really did not support it, and they gave him a warning, and he was caught again. And so they kicked him out, and that was still not a reality check. He just was trying to find somewhere else to live. He didn't care. And so he even slept at the drug dealer's house. He just sat there. He became friends with him. And then when he couldn't pay his dues, he got kicked out. He spent all his money on cocaine and alcohol. So he had one last resort, and that was his grandmother, the only person that would not judge him for who he was, what he did. She always loved him. And she only had one rule for him staying in her house, and that was to not do any drugs of any sort. And for a couple days he was okay. He listened, but then she caught him snorting in his room, and that was her warning. And so she began to worry about him because he was losing a lot of weight, he wasn't hungry, and he was very depressed. And so she decided to tell him that if he does it one more time, that she's going to kick him out, even though she doesn't want to, but she has to. And that was a reality check for him because he didn't want to disappoint his grandmother. He never wants to disappoint her. So he began to have cravings for it again. So he went straight to her and asked her what he could do because rehab centers won't work, and his parents' disappointment didn't work, and his debt didn't even work. And she only had one last conclusion, and that was to create a relationship with God. And as soon as he heard that, he asked her for a Bible, and he began reading it. And he even found a verse that really struck him, and that was James 4:7, and it says, "Humble yourself before God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you." And he kept this quote in his mind every time he had a craving for cocaine, and it really helped him. And he always prayed to God, and he wanted God to show him the right path, and he will follow anything that God wants him to do. And it really worked. He became sober and clean from that time on. I mean, he had 2 relapses, but he became very clean. And I mean, people wonder how well-off people can become so depressed that they begin taking like very high precautions, and they really take their money for granted. And you know, Josh Hamilton didn't take anything for granted. He just hung out with the wrong crowd. He was always the kind of guy that wanted to make friends, wanted people to like him. So I think that's where it all started, but that was not God's path for him, and he just followed God, and he found the right way. Thank you for watching.